Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth lesson in this series, where we are going to master all date and time functions in Excel. Whether you're a beginner just getting started or an experienced user looking to refine your skills, this lesson is designed to cover everything you need to know about handling dates and times in Excel. Remember to download the lesson file from the link below. Practicing with this workbook is essential for fully understanding the concepts. By keeping a copy, you'll have a handy reference to solve any date and time function problems using the provided examples. So without further ado, let's dive into chapter 1. Let's get started with some basic date and time functions. In this example, we have the invoice date and we need to extract the day, month and year from this date. In order to extract the day, we will use the day function. So type in an equal sign, day, press tab. Now select the cell containing the date and press Ctrl Enter. Now let's extract the month from this date using the month function. So type in an equal sign, month, press tab, select the date, press Ctrl Enter. Next, we will use the year function to extract the year from this date. Select all three cells, double click the file handle and send it down. So as you can see, we have successfully extracted the day, month and year from the invoice dates. Next, we will extract a date from separate columns for day, month and year. For this, we will use the date function. So type in an equal sign, date, press tab. This function takes three arguments, year, month and day, and combines them into a single date value. Under year, select the year, comma. Under month, select the month, comma. Under day, select the day and press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, this column now displays the combined date values derived from the day, month and year. Next, we will extract hour, minute and second from the delivery time. In order to extract the hour, we will use the hour function. So type in an equal sign hour, press tab. Under serial number, select the time and press Ctrl Enter. In order to extract the minute, we will use the minute function. Select the time, press Ctrl Enter. We will use the second function to extract the second from the time. Press Ctrl Enter. Select all three cells, double click the fill handle and send it down. Now we will extract the time from the hour, minute and second columns. So type in an equal sign, time, press tab. Under hour, select the hour, comma. Under minute, select the minute, comma. Under second, select the second, press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, we have combined the hour, minute and second into a single time value. Moving on, let's take a look at two different ways of inserting the current date and time. First, we will use the keyboard shortcut to insert the current date, which is Control semicolon, press tab, and we will insert the current time using the keyboard shortcut Control Shift semicolon. You can use these keyboard shortcuts to quickly insert the current date and time into a cell. One thing to note here is that this is static and won't update. We can also use functions to insert the current date and time. For inserting the current date, we will use the function today. So type in an equal sign, today, press tab. This function does not take any arguments. So press Ctrl Enter, press tab. You can also use the now function to insert the current date and time as a serial number. Type in an equal sign, now, press tab. This function also does not take any arguments. So press Ctrl Enter. So as you can see, we have the current date and time as a serial number in this cell. Now, if you want to change this format to only display time, you can simply change the number format to time. Although the keyboard shortcuts remain constant, these functions will update each time the spreadsheet is opened or recalculated. Next, let's check out the year frac function, which calculates the fraction of the year between two dates. Our goal in this example is to calculate how much of the year has passed and how much is left from today's date. So type in an equal sign, year frac, press tab. On the start date, we will type in the today function as we need the current date under start date. And this will also remain dynamic, so it will change every time you open the spreadsheet or recalculate the spreadsheet. All right. Now under end date, this will be the last date of the year, which is 31st of December 2024, within quotes. Close parenthesis, control, enter. As you can see, the year frac function returns a decimal value representing the fraction of the year between the two dates. Now, in order to calculate the percent time passed, we will simply deduct this result from 1. So type in an equal sign, 1 minus percent year left in order to calculate the percent year passed. Press Ctrl Enter. Select both cells and press Ctrl Shift 5 to change this to percent style. While these functions may appear simple individually, they can achieve remarkable results when combined with other functions. In the following example, we will combine these functions to unleash their full potential. Now, let's check out a complex example and put all our knowledge to rest. In this example, we need to create a formula in a single cell that combines the current date, time, and also calculates the percentage of the year that has passed. Also keep in mind that we have to make this dynamic so that it changes every day when you open the workbook or recalculate the worksheet. First, we will use the today function along with the text function to calculate the date in the specified format. Then we will join this with the text string using the concat function and also use the character function. Now, if you're unfamiliar with text functions, then I highly recommend that you watch our previous lesson before watching this example. All right, so as we always do, we will break up this long complex formula into small parts first and then later add them. So let's get started. Type an equal sign, text, press tab, under value. We will select the today function as we need the current date, comma. Now we will format the text as mm/dd/yyyy, close parenthesis, control enter. Next, we need to calculate the current time in the specified format, which is 1-digit hour, 2-digit minute, followed by AM/PM. So type in an equal sign, text, press tab, under value, we need the current time. So we'll type in the now function, comma. Now we will format this as H, 1-digit hour, 2-digit minute, space, AM/PM, close parenthesis, control enter. Next, we will calculate how much of the current year has passed using the year frac function. So type in equal sign, year frac, press tab. Under start date, we need the current date. Now under end date, we need to make this dynamic. So we will use the date function. Under year, we will type in the year function. Now we need the year of the current date. So we will type in the day function inside the year function. Close the year function. Type in a comma. The month will always be 12 and the date will always be 31. Close parenthesis for the date function. Now close parenthesis for the year frac function and press Ctrl Enter. Now this tells us what percentage of the year is left. So we will deduct the whole thing, the entire formula, by 1. So 1 minus the entire formula. Press Control Enter. We need the correct formatting for this as well. So we will put this inside the text function to get the desired result. So press F2 to edit this. Select the function and press Ctrl X to cut it. Type in the text function, press tab under value. We will paste what we just cut, comma, and now we will specify our desired format, which is %style with 1 decimal place. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. So as you can see, we have calculated the values we need. Finally, let's join them into a single function using concat. So first, we will copy all three functions to the clipboard pane, like we always do when creating complex nested functions. So first open the clipboard pane and copy all three functions to the clipboard pane. All right. Now type an equal sign, concat, press tab when you see it. Now within quotes, type in the text that we want before the date, which is today's date is, and then a space, comma, and now paste the function which contains the current date. Type in comma, move to the next part, and now we need a line break after the first line. So we will use character 10. Next, we need to type in the text current time is space, close it, comma, to move to the next part. Now you will paste the function which contains the time, comma. Now once again, we will add the line break, comma. Now finally, we need to paste the last part, which is the percent, comma. And now we need to type in the text, single space of the year has passed. Close parenthesis for the concat function. And now press Control Enter. Now you need to click on Wrap Text on the Home tab under the Alignment group to see this in multiple lines. So there you have it. Overall, this formula concatenates different pieces of text along with formatted date and time to create a sentence that provides information about today's date, current time, and the percentage of the year that has passed. Let's proceed to the next chapter. In this chapter, we will dive into some advanced date and time functions. First, we will take a look at conversion functions, which helps us convert date and time stored as text to the proper desired format. In our first example, we will use the DATEVALUE function to convert these dates stored as text into a date serial number that Excel recognizes as a date. If you remember, we had used a similar function in our last lesson where we converted numbers stored as text using the number value function. All right, so type in an equal sign, date value, press tab, select the cell containing the date, and press Control Enter. Now let's change this date serial number to our desired format by pressing Control 1 and changing the custom format to mm/dd/YYYY. press enter. Double click the fill handle and send the formula down. Excel will now recognize all these values as dates. Next, let's take a look at the time value function, which will help us convert time in text format into a proper time format. As you can see in this example, we have the letter T in front of the time. We need to remove the T from the text string and convert the rest to a time string. We'll use a combination of the substitute and time value functions in order to achieve this. We had learned about the substitute function in our previous lesson on text functions. So let's dive in. Type in equal sign, time value, press tab. Now we will insert the substitute function inside the time value function. Under text, we will select the cell containing the value. Old text is capital T, comma. Under new text, we will type in double quotes as we need nothing in place of that. Close parenthesis for both functions and press Control Enter. Double click and send it down. Now, while all these cells are selected, press Control 1, click on Custom. Now type in the desired format, which is single digit hour, double digit minute, space A for AM / P for PM, and press Enter. Alright, to summarize, we use the substitute function to remove unwanted characters and the time value function to convert text to a proper time format. Finally, we formatted the cell to display the time correctly. Next, we will take a look at date arithmetic functions, which are helpful for tasks like finding the difference between two dates, adding or subtracting days from a date, or getting the date a certain number of months in the future or past. We will start with EDATE, which helps us calculate a date that is a specified number of months before or after a given date. Let's get started. Here, we have a list of investments with their start dates and the number of months to maturity. Our goal here is to calculate the maturity date for each investment. We will use the EDATE function to add the number of months to the start date for calculating the maturity date. Now, if you double click any cell inside the months to maturity column, you will notice that the underlying value is a number, as custom format has been applied to these cells. All right, let's get started. So type in an equal sign, EDATE, press tab. The EDATE function takes two arguments, the start date and the number of months. So under start date, select the start date, comma. Under months, select months to maturity, press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Now, while all these cells are selected, press Control Shift 3 to change the number format to date format. So, as you can see, Excel has calculated the maturity dates for all the investments. Next, we have a schedule of training dates. Our goal here is to determine the last training date based on the next scheduled training date and the number of months since the last training. So we have columns for the next training date and the interval since the last training. All right, so type in equal sign, EDATE, press tab. The start date will be the next training date, comma. And now, under months, we will type a minus sign first before selecting the value. Now press Control Enter. Press Control Shift 3 to change to date format, Control Shift down arrow, Control T to send it down. As you can see, Excel has calculated the last training dates for all the records. To summarize, we use the EDATE function to calculate the last training date by subtracting the number of months since the last training from the next training date. This is a quick and efficient way to manage training schedules in Excel. Next, let's check out the EOMONTH function, which is designed to calculate the last day of the month, a certain number of months before or after a given date. It's helpful for situations where you need to determine deadlines or due dates that fall on the last day of the month. Our goal in this example is to calculate the last date of the current month, the next month, and the previous month. Let's start by calculating the last date of the month of this date. All right, so having an equal sign, EO month, press tab. This function takes two arguments, the start date and the number of months to move forward or backward. Under start date, select the cell containing the date, and as we want to display the last day of the same month, under months we will type in 0. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Press Control Shift 3 to change the number format to date format. So as you can see, the last date of April is displayed here. Let's do the same for the next one, but this time we need the last date of the next month. So type in an equal sign, EO month, press tab, select the start date, comma. Now for next month, we need to type in 1. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Moving to the next one, we need the last date of the previous month. So type in an equal sign, EO month, select the start date, comma. For previous month, we will type in -1. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Select both cells, press Control Shift 3. Right now, let's check out an immensely useful example where we will learn how to calculate the percentage of the current month that has passed using a combination of functions. We will also make this dynamic so that every time you open the workbook or refresh the worksheet, this will update. So suppose we need to calculate the percentage of month passed from this date. In order to do that, we need to find the last day of the month. So we will use the EOMONTH function for that. EOMONTH, select the start date, comma 0, close parenthesis, Control Enter. Press Control Shift 3 to change to date format. Now, if we divide the number of days passed, which in this case is 11, by the number of days in a month, 31, then we will get to know what percentage of the current month has passed. So type in an equal sign, type in day, press tab, select the cell containing the date, close parenthesis. Now we will divide this by the last date of the month. So type in the day function again, select the last date, close parenthesis, Control Enter. As you can see, the cell now displays a decimal value representing the fraction of the month that has passed. You can press Control Shift 5 to change this to person style. Alright, now let's turn this into a proper sentence and make it dynamic. Let's start by selecting an empty cell and typing in the today function. Press tab, Control Enter. Now, with the help of EO month, we will find out the last date of the month. So type in an equal sign, EO month. The start date is today's date, 0. Close parenthesis, Control Enter, Control Shift 3. Change the date format. Now, finally, we will divide the day of this cell by the day of the last date in order to know what percent of the month has passed. So as you can see, this This is totally dynamic, as this will update every single time you refresh the worksheet or open the workbook. Now let's calculate the same in a single cell using a nested function. So type in an equal sign, day, we need today. Now we divide this by the day of the last day of the month. So the start date will be today's date, which will always remain dynamic. Under months, we'll type in 0, close parenthesis for the EOMONTH function, close parenthesis for the day function. Press Control Enter. Now finally, we need to format this decimal value as a percentage. Let's use the text function to do this. First, let's copy the entire formula. Alright, so type in an equal sign, text, press tab, under value, paste, comma. Under format text, we need this in percent style with 2 decimal places. So type in 0, 0, 0, 0, percent, close parenthesis, control, enter. Now let's add a message at the end to make it more informative, using ampersand to join the text strings. So press F2 and at the end type in ampersand and then type of the present month has passed and press Control Enter. Press Control C, select this cell, Control Alt V to open Paste Special, select formulas, click on OK. So as you can see, the cell displays a complete message now, which will update every time you open the workbook. To summarize, we used the today, day, EOMONTH, and text functions to calculate and format the percentage of the month that has passed. This is a simple yet powerful way to track time in Excel. Next, we are going to learn how to calculate the number of days between two dates using 3 different methods: normal subtraction, the days function, and the days 360 function. Let's start with normal subtraction method. Type an equal sign, select today's date, which is in this cell, press F4 to lock it, minus the invoice due date. Press Control Enter. Now, we will also add the text days past due at the end of this using ampersand. So type in an ampersand, within quotes type in space days past due. And we are going to copy this as well, as we will use this in our following examples. Press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. The result should display the number of days between the invoice due date and today's date, which is December 1st, 2024. Next, we will calculate the number of days using the days function. Type in equal sign, days. The days function takes 2 arguments, the end date and the start date. It returns the number of days between these 2 dates. So under end date, we will select today's date, press F4 to lock it, comma. Under start date, we will select the invoice due date. Close parenthesis, press Ctrl V to paste the text string. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click and send it down. So as you can see, the normal method and the days method produce similar results. Next, we will calculate the number of days using the days 360 function. The days 360 function assumes a 360-day year, 12 months of 30 days each, which is commonly used in financial calculations. So type in an equal sign, days 360, press tab. On the start date, select the invoice due date, comma. Under the end date, select today's date. Press F4 to lock it, close parenthesis. Now paste the end part. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click and send it down. So as you can see, Excel has calculated the number of days between the invoice due date and today's date using all three methods. Next, let's check out workday functions, which are mainly useful for project planning and scheduling. First, we will take a look at the NETWORKDAYS function, which returns the number of workdays, excluding weekends, between two dates. In this example, we have the start and end dates for a project, and we need to calculate the total number of workdays between these dates. Let's start by calculating the total number of workdays excluding holidays. So type in an equal sign, net workdays, press tab. This function takes two arguments, the start date and the end date. Under start date, select the cell containing the project start date, comma. Under end date, select the end date, close parenthesis, and now using ampersand, we will add the word days at the end. Press enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. The result should display the number of work days between the start and end dates. Next, let's calculate the total number of work days including holidays. At the top, we have a list of holidays in a range named holidays. You can see that in the name box. Alright, so type in equal sign, net work days, press tab, select the start date, comma, end date, comma. Now under holidays, select the list of holiday dates excluding the header. Close parenthesis, and once again at the end using ampersand, we'll add the word days. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. The result should display the number of work days between the start and end dates excluding the specified holidays. To summarize, we used NETWORKDAYS function to calculate the total number of work days between two dates. We covered both excluding and including holidays. Next, let's check out NETWORKDAYS International function, which is mainly useful for companies with different weekend days. In this example, we have the start and end dates for a project, and we need to calculate the total number of work days between these dates, considering Wednesdays and Thursdays as weekends. Let's start by calculating the total number of work days excluding weekends. Excluding holidays. Alright, so type in equal sign NETWORKDAYS International. Press tab to select it. This function takes three arguments. The start date, select it, comma, the end date, comma, and a weekend parameter. The weekend parameter is a number or a string that which days are weekends. Under weekend, we will select number 5 as we want Wednesdays and Thursdays to be the weekends. Select it by pressing tab. close parenthesis, and once again at the end, we will add the word days using ampersand within quotes. Press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. All right, now let's copy the entire formula by pressing Control C, escape. Now we will paste this in the adjacent cell. This time we will just add our named range holidays under holidays. So type in holidays, press tab to select it, press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. The result should display the number of work days between the start and end dates, excluding the specified holidays. To summarize, while the traditional weekend of Saturday and Sunday is most common, there are indeed companies in certain industries like hospitality or healthcare that follow an alternative work week schedule. For them, Network Days International function is invaluable. Next, let's check out week functions, which are mainly useful for finding the week number for a specific date or the day of the week corresponding to a date. Let's get started. In this example, we have a list of dates and we need to determine the week number of a given date. First, we will use the week number function. So type in equal sign WEEKNUM, select the function. Now under serial number, we will select the cell containing the date, close parenthesis, Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. As you can see, the WEEKNUM function has returned the week number of the dates based on the standard week starting on Sunday. Next, we will calculate the week number using the ISO 8601 standard with the ISOWEEKNUM function. Type in equal sign ISOWEEKNUM, press tab, select the date, press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. As you can see, the WEEKNUM function has returned the ISO week number of the year for the given dates. ISO weeks start on Monday, and that is the reason why you might see different answers for a few. This function is mainly useful for international date standards, where weeks start on Monday and each week contains at least 4 days of the new year. Next, let's check out the weekday function, which returns the day of the week corresponding to a date. Before we find the weekday, we will use the text function to find the day of the week. So type in equal sign text, press tab, select the date under value, comma, under format text within quotes, we will type in DD. See the full day. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Now type in equal sign weekday, press tab, under serial number, select the cell containing the date and press Control Enter. As you can see, the weekday function has returned an integer representing the day of the week. By default, weeks start on a Sunday, which is 1, and end on Saturdays, which is 7. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Now you can also specify which day is considered the first day of the week and the numbering system used. Let's try that out. Type in an equal sign, weekday, press tab, select the cell containing the date, comma. Now this time, under return type, we will type in 2 as our week starts on Monday. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, the weekdays will differ for these dates according to the system used. Next, let's check out planning functions, which are mainly useful for project planning, scheduling, and time management, ensuring that calculations respect typical work schedules and holidays. In Excel, Workday and Workday International are functions used to calculate future or past dates by adding or subtracting workdays, excluding weekends and optionally holidays. In this example, our goal is to calculate the completion date of the project using both functions. First, we will select all cells and under number format, we will select short date. Let's start with the workday function, which is used when weekends are standard, which is Saturday and Sunday. So type in equal sign, workday, press tab. This function takes two arguments. On the start date, select the cell containing the initial date from which to begin counting. Under days, select the cell containing the number of work days to add from the start date. You can also use a negative value here if you want to calculate a date in the past. Close parenthesis, control enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Now we'll copy the first formula and paste it in the adjacent cell. Now this time, under holidays, we will select the range of days to be considered as non-working days in addition to weekends. Press F4 to lock it as this is not a named range. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Next, let's check out the Workday International function, which is used when weekends are non-standard or need customization. In this example, we will consider Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday as the weekend days for every week. So type in equal sign, Workday International. Under the start date, select the start date. Now select the number of days to add, comma. This time, under weekend, you can choose either one of the configuration codes, which you can see here in this list, or you can type in a 7-character string of zeros and ones, where 1 represents a weekend day and 0 represents a work day. For this example, we will use the string format as we have 3-day weekend. So within quotes, type in 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. The standard week starts on Monday. So as you can see, this pattern skips Wednesday and the weekends. Close parenthesis, control enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Now let's copy the contents of this cell and paste it in the adjacent one. All right. Now this time under holidays, we will select our list of holidays, press F4 to lock it and press control enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. To summarize, we calculated future dates based on work days, excluding specific weekend days. This function is very flexible and useful for project planning when you have custom weekends. Now let's proceed to the next part. In this example, we learn how to calculate the total hours worked by an employee, excluding their break time. Let's get started. As you can see, we have columns for employee name, time in, time out, and hours worked. Also, we have the break time mentioned at the top in this cell. Now, in order to calculate the total hours worked, excluding the break time, we need to use a formula. So type in equal sign, select the cell containing the time the employee clocks out minus the time the employee clocks in. Press Ctrl Enter. Now, we need to multiply this by 24 to convert the time from decimal format to hours. So, we will put this entire formula within parentheses and multiply it by 24. Press Ctrl Enter. Now press Ctrl Shift tilde to switch the number format to general format. Press F2 to edit the formula again. Alright, now we need to put this entire formula within parentheses again, and now deduct the, type in minus sign, and now select the cell containing the break time. This cell is named as break, so you see break and not the cell as F4. Okay, so we will also append the words hours at the end. So type in ampersand, within quotes type in space, a single space, and then hours. Close it, press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, Excel has calculated the total hours worked excluding the break time. Great. Let's proceed to the next example. In this example, we will learn how to add a combination of years, months, and days to a start date of a project and calculate the completion date. We will use the date function along with the year, month, and day functions to calculate this. This approach allows you to manipulate the components of the date individually and then combine them into a new date. Alright, so let's type in an equal sign, type in date, press tab. Under year, we will use the year function to extract the year from the start date. Close parenthesis, type in a plus sign, and now select the cell containing the number of years to add, comma. Next, under month, we will use the month function. Select the start date, close parenthesis, type in a plus sign, and now select the cell containing the number of months to add, comma. Under day, we will use the day function. Select the start date, close parenthesis, type in a plus sign, and now select the cell containing the number of days to add. Now close parenthesis for the date function. Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Adding months may cause an overflow if the total exceeds 12. For example, if you add 15 months, you need to account for the overflow into the next year. Excel's date function handles this automatically and adjusts the year accordingly. This approach is very useful for project planning, scheduling, and any situation where you need to calculate future or past dates based on a given start date. Next, we'll take a look at the powerful DATEDIF function in Excel, which calculates the difference between two dates in various units, years, months, days, etc. Despite being a very useful function, DATEDIF is somewhat hidden and does not appear in the function list or formula autocomplete in Excel. However, it is fully functional and can be used in formulas. In this example, we have the start and end dates, and our goal here is to calculate the difference between these dates in various units. We'll start with calculating the difference in years first. So type in an equal sign and type in DATEDIF. As soon as you type in the opening parenthesis, the function will become active. This function takes three arguments: the start date, end date, and unit. First, we will select the start date, comma, then the end date, comma, and finally, we need to specify the unit of time to be used in the calculation. So type in y within quotes. This parameter will calculate the difference between the dates in years. Now close parenthesis and press. Now, before pressing enter, we will add the text using ampersand. We'll add the text years, put it in quotes and press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. As you can see, Excel has calculated the number of complete years between the start and end dates. Next, we will calculate the difference in months. So let's copy this formula we just used and paste it in the adjacent cell under months. All right. So now this time we will just adjust the parameter to M and edit the text to months. Press Control Enter, double click the fill handle and send it down. Now we'll paste the formula again under days edit the parameter to D this time, as we need the number of days, and edit the text to days. Press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Next, we will calculate the difference in weeks. There is no unit for weeks, so we will divide the total number of days by 7 to convert it to weeks. So let's copy the days formula and paste it in this cell. Now we will divide this by 7 to get the number of weeks. We don't want any decimals, so what we'll do is we will put this in the fixed function. Under decimals, we will type in 0 and close parenthesis. And we will also append the text weeks at the end. Press Control Enter, double click the fill handle and send it down. As you can see, we have successfully calculated the difference between two dates in years, months, days, and weeks using the hidden DATEDIF function. This method can be easily applied to any sets of dates you have. Next, let's quickly check out the other units under the DATEDIF function, which can also be very useful in various calculations. First, we will calculate the difference in days between these dates using the parameter MD, which will return the difference between the days ignoring months and years. So type in an equal sign, DATEDIF, type in opening parenthesis, select the start date, comma, the end date, comma. Now we will type in MD as our parameter this time. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. So as you can see, Excel has deducted 12 from 25, resulting in 13, ignoring any months or years in between. Next, we will calculate the difference between the months of the start and end dates, ignoring days and years, using the parameter YM. So let's copy this formula first, paste it in this cell. Now we will just edit the parameter to YM and press Control Enter. Finally, let's calculate the difference between the days of the start and end dates, ignoring years, using the parameter YD. So let's paste the formula once again, press F2 to edit it. Now we will change the parameter to YD. Press Control Enter. And there you have it. We have calculated the difference between two dates using all the parameters under the DATEDIF function. In the next section of the tutorial, we'll explore advanced techniques for working with date and time data. Before we begin, please be reminded that you can download this lesson file from the link below, as the following examples can get a little challenging to grasp without some hands-on practice. Think of this workbook as your personal date and time function cheat sheet. Whenever you get stuck, you can refer back to these examples to find the solution. Right. So in this example, we'll learn how to calculate different age metrics for employees. We'll cover calculating age in years, age in months, combined age in years and months, and the number of days left for the next birthday. Let's get started. In order to calculate the age in years, we will use the DATEDIF function. So type in equal sign, DATEDIF, opening parenthesis, select the cell containing the date of birth of the employee, comma. Now we will type in the today function, which will return the current date, comma. Now within quotes, type in Y, as we want to calculate the difference in years. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Press Tab to move to the next one. Next, let's calculate the difference in months, ignoring the years. Press Control R, copy the formula to the right. And now this time, we will change the parameter to YM. Press Control Enter. Select both cells, double click the fill handle and set it down. Now this tells us the exact age of the person in years and months. For example, John Jones will be 36 years and 10 months old as of today. Now let's concatenate this information into a single text string. As always, we'll start by copying the formulas to the clipboard to work with nested functions. So open the clipboard pane, clear all. Now copy the formulas to the clipboard. Type an equal sign, concat, paste the formula containing the year, comma. Now we will add the text years. So type in single space, years, space, ampersand, space, and then we close this, comma. Now under third text, we will paste the months. Type in a comma. Now we will add some more text, months old, close parenthesis, control enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Functions are dynamic, so this will change every time you open the workbook or refresh the worksheet. Next, let's calculate the number of days left for the next birthday for each employee. All right, so type in an equal sign, DATEDIF, opening parenthesis. Our start date will be the year of birth, comma, end date will be today's date, comma, and this time our unit will be Y2, which will return the difference between the days ignoring the years. Close parenthesis, control enter. Now, in order to calculate the number of days left until the next birthday, we need to subtract the day difference within the year from 365. So press F2. Now, just after the equal sign, we will type in 365 and then the minus sign. Also at the end, we will append the text days to go using ampersand. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, we have successfully calculated the age in years and months and also the days left for the next birthday. Next, let's calculate the detailed age of a person in years, months, and days using the int and mod functions. The int function in Excel rounds a number down to the nearest integer. So type in an equal sign, int, press tab, select the number, press Ctrl Enter. As you can see, the int function rounds 5.7 down to 5. Next, the mod function in Excel returns the remainder after a number is divided by a divisor. It's useful for operations where you need to know the leftover part after division. So type in an equal sign, mod, press tab. This function takes two arguments, the number and the divisor. Select the cell containing the number, and now we will divide this by 3. So basically we are dividing 10 by 3. Press Ctrl Enter. As you can see, 1 is the answer as this is the leftover part after division. All right, so let's get started. As you can see, our goal here is to create a string of text displaying the detailed age of the employees in years, months, and days. We will enter a complex formula to calculate the age in years, months, and days. To help you understand it better, we'll break it down into smaller parts first. So type in an equal sign. Now type in the today function. Press Ctrl Enter. Now today's date minus the year of birth will give us the total number of days. In order to convert this to years, we will divide this by 365.25. which is the exact number of days in a year. Now we will divide the total day difference by total average number of days in a year to get the number of complete years. Next, we will use the INT function to round this figure down to the nearest integer. Next, we will calculate the fractional part of the year remaining after accounting for full years. So we will deduct the answer that we got from the INT function from the number of total years. Now, in order to convert this to full months, we will multiply this by 12. We will use the INT function again to round this figure down to the nearest integer. Now, this will give us the number of full months. Next, let's calculate the remaining days. First, we will deduct this answer from the total months to get the fractional part of the month remaining. Now we will multiply this by 30.4375, which is the exact number of average days in a month. Now this will give us the total number of days. Now once again, we will put this in the INT function to round this figure down. So as you can see, we have been able to calculate the detailed age of a person by breaking it up into several small parts. Now we will join them into a single nested function. Let's start by calculating the number of full years in a single function. So type in equal sign today minus the year of birth. Now we need to divide this entire formula by the total number of average days in the year. So we will put this entire formula within parentheses first and then divide it by 365.25. Press Ctrl Enter. Next, we will insert this formula within the INT function to round it down. So select it and cut it, type in INT and paste it within the INT function. Close parenthesis, Ctrl Enter. Press Ctrl Shift tilde to change the number format to general format. Next, we need to calculate the number of whole months in a single formula. First, we will copy this formula excluding the INT function. Now type in an equal sign, mod, press tab. Under number, we will paste what we just copied, comma, our divisor will be 1. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Now we need to multiply this by 12 to convert this into full months. So press F2 and we will put this entire formula within parenthesis and multiply it by 12. Press Control Enter. Press Control Shift tilde. Now we need to put this entire formula inside the INT function to round it down. So select it, press Ctrl X to cut it, type in the INT function and paste it inside the INT function. Press Ctrl Enter. Next, we need to calculate the number of total days in a single formula. First, we need to find the remainder from the previous formula. So we will copy this part excluding the int function. Now type in an equal sign and paste the function here. Press Ctrl Enter. Press Ctrl Shift tilde. Alright. Now we have reached this portion of our calculation. So what we need to do is we need to deduct the answer from the int function from this value. So first we will put this entire formula within parentheses. And now type in minus sign and paste what we just copied. Press Ctrl Enter. Now we need to multiply this by 30.4375 to convert this into total days. So press F2. Now put this entire formula within parentheses again. Now type in the asterisk sign and now type in 30.4375. Press Ctrl Enter. Now once again we need to put this entire formula inside the int function. So we will cut it, press Ctrl X, type in int, press tab, paste it, close parenthesis for the int function, press Ctrl Enter. So as you can see, we have calculated the total number of years, months, and days in separate formulas. Now let's concatenate this information into a single text string. As always, we'll start by copying the formulas to the clipboard pane. So let's copy all the formulas to the clipboard pane first. Now let's type in our nested function. Type an equal sign, concat, press tab. Under text 1, we will paste the function containing the number of years. Type in a comma, move to the next part. Now we'll add the text, years, comma, and a space. Now we'll paste the function containing the number of months, comma. Now we'll add the text, months, and space, comma. Paste the function containing the number of days, comma, and now we will add the final text, days old. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. And there you have it. We have successfully calculated the detailed age of an employee in years, months, and days using a combination of functions. This method can be easily applied to any set of birth dates you have. Alright, let's proceed to the final portion of this lesson. In this example, we'll learn how to extract a date from a text string and convert it into a proper date format. We will use a combination of Excel functions to achieve this. Let's dive in. We have a list of holidays from the year 2025, and we need to use these dates in our calculations. We cannot do that presently as this is a text string and there are also some unwanted characters in them. Our goal here is to extract the date and append the year 2025 at the end. We have several columns set up to help us break down the process. Let's get started by extracting the date part using the mid and find functions. So type in an equal sign, mid, select the text, comma. Under start number, we will use the find function to locate the comma. Under within text, select the cell containing the text, close parenthesis. Now we will add 2 at the end to skip past the comma and space. Type in a comma again. Under number of characters, we will use the len function to just keep this dynamic. Press Ctrl Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. Next, we need to get rid of the asterisk symbols. we will clean up the extracted date part using substitute. So type in equal sign, substitute, press tab. Under text, select the cell containing the date. Under old text, we will type in asterisk. Under new text, we will type in double quotes as we need nothing. In place of that, close parenthesis, Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. So as you can see, we have removed the unwanted characters now. Next, let's convert the cleaned up date part into a actual date format. So type in equal sign, date value, press tab, select the cell containing the date, and now we need to add the year 2025 to this. So type in ampersand, within quotes, type in comma, space, 2025. Close parenthesis, Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. As you can see, we have successfully extracted the date from the text string and converted it into a proper date format, which can now be used in calculations. All right, now let's combine this into a single nested function for convenience. First, we will copy the mid function. Now type in equal sign, date value, press tab, substitute, press tab. Under the text part in the substitute function, we will paste the formula we just copied. Type in a comma. Under old text, we will type in asterisk, comma. Under new text, double quotes, which means nothing, close parenthesis. And finally, using ampersand, we will add the year. Close parenthesis for the date value function. Press Control Enter. Double click the fill handle and send it down. And that's it. We have successfully extracted and converted dates from text strings using a combination of functions in one step. So this concludes our lesson on the date and time functions in Excel, where we covered everything from the basics to more advanced techniques. We explored how to use almost every single date time function, and we also delved into calculating difference between dates and times, formatting dates and times, and leveraging these functions to manage and analyze your data efficiently. Whether you're tracking project deadlines, calculating ages, or simply managing your schedules, mastering these functions will greatly enhance your productivity in Excel. We hope you found this tutorial helpful and that you feel more confident in using date and time functions in your Excel projects. If you have any questions or need further clarification, please leave a comment below and we'll be happy to help. Don't forget to like and share our tutorials with your friends and colleagues to spread the knowledge. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth tutorials and tips to help you become an Excel expert. Thank you for watching and happy Excelling.